Episode 10 begins with Rizia entering Her Majesty the Emperor's chamber, where Nameless is already present. She bows and reports that the successor to the Black Steel has returned. However, as she attempts to report about Salinger, the Emperor interrupts her with a yawn. A young man, dressed in white with fox-like ears and a tail, complains about the 8 senators' pursuit of pure-blooded individuals. The Emperor then discovers an intriguing occurrence, something that hasn't happened in the last 100 years. One of the descendants of the nebulous sovereign has fallen in love with the Imperial Swordmaster. The scene transitions to Sisbel, who is dreaming about the sovereign's ice palace collapsing, and she is desperately trying to reach her mother, who is seated on the throne. The nightmare jolts her awake, and upon leaving her room, she encounters a nobleman who is singing praises of her mother. This reminds her of the dream, causing her to return to her room. While pondering her dream, the attendant assigned to watch over her arrives and delivers a message that Her Majesty wishes to see her. Upon her audience with Her Majesty, she is tasked with a mission to travel to the independent nation of Alsamara. Her Majesty requests her to use her spirit's power to determine the nation's allegiance to the Empire. Sisbel accepts her mother's request and declines her offer for an escort, and she departs from Her Majesty's chamber. After Sisbel exits, the attendant informs Her Majesty that the first princess, Elatir, has returned. Meanwhile, in the Imperial headquarters, Iska leaves the medical room and heads to a room where Mismas and others have gathered. Neen, concerned about Iska's condition, inquires about his physical examination. Iska responds that he is fine, although the examiner keeps questioning him. As for the others, they must undergo another physical examination to ensure that their false spirit symbols have disappeared. Jin explains that his and Neen's symbols are fine, but Mismas's symbol hasn't disappeared even after a week. While discussing Mismas's spirit symbol, Rizia is dragged into the room by Mickey, accusing Rizia of a transgression. Once they enter the room, Rizia apologizes to Mickey. Mismas, curious about the situation, then stands up from her seat and inquires about what is happening. Mickey/Michaela proceeds to introduce herself as the medical coordination team. She explains that there is a significant issue as she has seen the working hours report from Unit N07. They have been working too hard. As per military regulations, the maximum duty limit for Division 3 soldiers is 30 days, and they have exceeded the specified working hours. All members of Unit N07 are taken aback upon hearing this. Mickey mentions that it's all due to the orders of an irresponsible person while glancing at Rizia. Neen, who doesn't understand what's happening, asks Mickey for clarification. Mickey explains that they have been ordered to withdraw, meaning that Unit N07 must take a total rest for the next 60 days. Upon hearing this decision, Rizia is shocked and resigned at the same time. After conveying the information, Mickey then leaves the room, followed by Rizia bidding them farewell and wishing them an enjoyable vacation. Mismas still can't believe the decision and remains silent, feeling happy that the inspection of their spirit symbols will also be postponed. Jin continues, albeit indirectly, that under normal circumstances, they should have already been killed if they had undertaken their last 3 missions. Now, they are given a 60-day break. Iska suggests staying away from the Empire, and Neen agrees with his suggestion, proposing an overseas vacation. Moving to the Sovereignty, where Alice is sitting in the library, working on her tasks. When she finishes one of her tasks, Rin arrives with a stack of papers, which are tasks from Alice from several weeks ago. Seeing the towering pile of papers, Alice is surprised and complains to Rin that she can't take it anymore. Alice expresses her astonishment and distress. Rin, unable to see her like this, suggests that she take a break. Rin then pours tea into the cups, accompanied by Alice, who complains about her work. She feels bored and desires something more challenging. But wasn't something challenging what you had yesterday? Rin replies. Hearing Rin's response, she recalls some moments when she was with Iska. Remembering those events, Alice smiles. Rin calls her, and she hastily explains that she wasn't reminiscing about the past. Disregarding Alice's response, Rin serves Alice a cup of milk tea and suggests stirring it before drinking. While stirring the milk tea, Alice thanks Rin and proceeds to take a sip. Just as she is drinking, a trumpet fanfare is heard, heralding the arrival of her older sister, Elatir. Alice then leaves the room to greet her sister. As she exits the room, she encounters her younger sister, Sisbel, who appears to be in a gloomy mood. Alice invites her to welcome Elatir together, but Sisbel quickly declines the offer and departs, leaving Alice. Rin finds Sisbel's behavior odd since she used to be as energetic and curious as Alice. The tension in their relationship stems from the ministers discussing the next queen's successor, which has made Alice and Sisbel's interactions awkward. However, Rin advises against leaving the palace, given the increasing presence of spirit users in the capital. To prepare for possible imperial attacks, the queen is contemplating distributing resources throughout the sovereignty. Upon hearing this, Alice feels that she should leave the palace. Meanwhile, Sisbel, feeling gloomy, leaves the palace and gets into the waiting car. Inside the car, her attendant questions whether it's okay for her to have only one person accompanying her. Sisbel then uses her power to reveal a conversation among the nobles discussing potential candidates for the next queen. This causes Sisbel to trust no one except her attendant. Still pondering her dream, she believes it's an omen that her mother is being targeted by someone and is determined to protect her mother on her own. At the same time, a masked man observes Sisbel's departure. He then sits down and has a conversation with Elatir, who is in front of him. He feels honored that Elatir has come to visit him. Elatir has come to discuss something concerning the people close to them who are involved with the Empire. Elatir is unsure about how to deal with such individuals. The scene shifts to where the Unit and 07 troops are in the independent city, arriving for a vacation at the city's resort. Mismas and Nain start getting caught up in the atmosphere of the independent city. Meanwhile, Iska is still thinking about how to hide Mismas's spirit symbol. While lost in thought, the captain offers a balloon and asks him to blow it up. Iska reluctantly accepts and protests because it's too soon, considering they'd just gotten off the bus. Ignoring Iska's remark, Mismas excitedly points out all the resorts in the city and runs towards one of them. The scene transitions to Iska and Jin on the beach, followed by Neen and Mismas, who are wearing swimsuits. With confidence, Neen and Mismas ask for their opinions on their swimsuits. After getting responses from Iska, Mismas and Iska run to the shore to play. The orange sky signals that it's late afternoon. Mismas falls asleep on Jin's back, followed by Neen and Iska behind them. As they walk toward the hotel, Neen stops because she wants to go shopping for dinner. She asks Jin to take Mismas back to the hotel, and then she asks Iska to wait for her while she goes to the restroom. While Iska is standing, waiting for Neen, he is accidentally bumped into by someone who is looking at a map while walking, causing him to fall. The girl who bumped into him is Sisbel, and she apologizes to Iska for the collision. Iska finds the girl somewhat familiar. Sisbel is surprised because she has encountered the person who saved her when she was imprisoned in the Empire. At the same time, Neen returns and asks Iska what's happening. Iska explains that someone was asking for directions. Neen then asks who it was, but Iska is puzzled and looks behind, but there is no one there. Iska, a little confused, then invites Neen to go to the supermarket. Sisbel, who is running in the middle of the independent city, realizes that Iska, her dream knight, is in the city. She stops and meets her servant again. Sisbel explains that she has found the dream knight she has been searching for. There is so much she wants to tell. Sisbel then asks her servant to return to the hotel. Meanwhile, Alice, who is exhausted, sits on the sofa in her room. Rin is beside her, presenting Alice's schedule for the next day. As Alice protests loudly, her mother calls her, and she quickly opens her room's door, asking her mother's purpose for the visit. Without further ado, her mother invites Alice to follow her. The night grows darker, and Sisbel is walking, accompanied by her attendant. She asks her attendant to watch the surroundings. Sisbel then uses her spirit power, creating a hologram of Iska and Neen, and she follows the hologram. On the other side, Alice and her mother are walking towards Sisbel's room. They stop when they reach Sisbel's room. Her mother discusses her choices, admitting that there's not much she can do, but she still has responsibilities towards her children. She's worried about Sisbel and curious about what Sisbel does when she isolates herself in her room. Back to where Sisbel is, she has followed the hologram of Iska and is now in front of the hotel where Iska is staying. Sisbel enters the hotel and stops at room number 1007. At the same time, her mother, along with Alice and Rin, enters her room. On the other side, Sisbel successfully enters the hotel room, sneaking in. She then softly calls out. Iska, thinking she might be an assassin, attacks her and restrains her movements. Back to Alice and her mother, they are investigating what Sisbel was doing when she locked herself in her room the other day. Alice, while inspecting, finds an old newspaper containing news about Iska's capture. Meanwhile, Iska interrogates Sisbel, who has entered his room. A light shines on both of them, making Iska realize that the girl who entered his room is someone he knows. At the same time, Alice is surprised that Sisbel knows Iska. Sisbel lies on the hotel room floor with Iska on top of her, asking for Iska's help to accompany her to the sovereignty.